Okay, so previously you'd said you'd stopped making decisions and were very demotivated. It looks like you were a bit stuck.
Yeah, I was stuck. I was going around in a loop where I would try and be creative and make decisions and about the business and going forward with it, but I would come up against a block, as I discussed, with a real block of thought and couldn't go forward with it, and it was all tied up around not feeling confident and feeling guilty that I'd want to do something that people didn't want me to do, and I was thinking about what other people would think of me, and it became a real issue. So it stopped a lot of process for the business going forward, and also stopped a lot of things in my personal life going forward as well. So it was a really big issue. I didn't realise how big an issue it was until I became quite anxious about things. So the guilt and everything got tied up around anxiety and not being able to perform. So yeah, it was a huge issue.
So after you worked with Chris, what were the first changes that you noticed?
I had an amazing sense of freedom. I went away from the session and I spent a day just writing my thoughts and writing about ideas around the business and ideas around my life, and it just flowed. It was amazing. I had no blockages at all. I could just think freely. So it was an incredible feeling of freedom and a real excitement around anything. I could do anything. Anything was possible. There wasn't anything holding me back anymore. I had a peace within myself, and I also contacted family and had conversations that I probably wouldn't have never had with them before. So it was fantastic. It was an amazing experience. So that was the initial thoughts. And then when I got back to London, because I'd gone to see Chris in San Diego, that feeling didn't change, and I came back straight into work, and some really positive things happened, and I met with my business partner and we talked about moving things forward, and he was really supportive, and it was amazing to see the reactions from other people where I would have assumed that they were going to have a certain reaction, but they actually didn't. They had something quite different, and that really spurred me to move ahead, which has been a real revelation actually.
Was there anything particular that you discovered about how your mind and thinking works that particularly stands out, any particular aspect of the change?
I think the most interesting thing was how simple it is, and how, for me, it was very easy the technique that was used, it seems incredibly simple, but was incredibly effective. It doesn't have to take months or years to train or retrain or rework the way your brain thinks, and the brain being such an amazing organ and completely underutilised, there's areas of it that you can tap into. For me, it's just incredible how incredibly easy it is and how simple, and I think that's a problem with it, is that it is too simple. Well, it's not a problem, but it seems that, well, this can't be true, that's too good to be true, but it is true. It does work, and it works incredibly effectively, and there's no the other part around it is that you don't have to drag up a whole lot of bad events or feel miserable about about the events you've had in your past. You can just get and deal with it very comfortably, and move on. And you can move on.
So on the video you talked about how feelings of guilt were slightly holding you back, and there was a really powerful moment when you talked about feeling guilty, and we can see you getting those feelings. And then 10 minutes later, after doing one of the processes with Chris, you actually found it impossible to get that feeling of guilt. Where are you on that journey now?
I try and get the guilt and think, well, is this really possible? Has this really worked? And I can't. It just doesn't exist anymore. It's like, I don't know, like when you play poo sticks, when you put a stick in the river and you watch it go under the bridge and then it goes out the other side and it's gone. It's like, well, it's literally gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not part of who I am anymore. It's not part of my life. It doesn't govern what I do. It just doesn't exist, and it's quite hard to explain, but it's not there. It's just not even part of me. It's not like I've lost a long lost friend, because it wasn't a friend. It was definitely something that was holding me back, and I'm really pleased it's not there anymore. So yeah, I don't even think about it. doesn't even come into my day-to-day existence anymore.
So what do you make of that? How do you explain that? How do you rationalise it? What do you make of it?
Small miracle. I think why didn't I know about this before? And I think that it's, for me, has been a huge step to change the way I do things. And I'm really grateful that I have had the opportunity to do it and to find this and discover it. I think that if I hadn't talked to Chris or done something with Chris, I would have gone and tried to find something else anyway, and I'm glad that I did find Chris, because for me it seemed very simple and very easy, and there's no residual side effects from it at all. It's not like taking drugs or going and have counselling or whatever. It's a very quick process, and it worked incredibly well for me.
You only spent about an hour with Chris. Were you surprised at how fast these changes happened?
Yeah, I was surprised. I think I had a willingness to do something about it, so I think that helped. But yeah, when you think about you want to make a lifestyle change, or you want to change the way you think about things, or you've got issues that you have, to have it resolved in an hour doesn't seem possible. But the fact that it was resolved in an hour is incredible. I think it's fantastic, absolutely amazing.
Is there anything you'd like to say to anyone watching about advanced thinking?
I wish it was taught in schools. I have gone away and taken some of the techniques and used them. I used it, as I say, I swam in the London Triathlon, and it was a freezing cold day, and I was so anxious about the whole thing, so I used some techniques to train my brain to say, okay, well, you're going to come out of this alive, it's fine. And I did an amazing time, and my husband was really proud, and I cried, and it was amazing. I've been using some of the techniques with my 5-year-old daughter, so there's no age limit to this. You can do this from birth through to close to death if you wish. So I've got some really great results with her with thumb sucking, which was a big comfort thing for her, so reducing that. It's for everybody and anybody. You've just got to be open to the possibilities, and if you are open to the possibilities, then they will come flooding in. So yeah, I think it's a science. It really sat well with me because I come from a psychological background. I was a psychologist, but very much into the scientific side of things, so research and the way the brain works. And scientifically, it just stacks up as well. So it's not airy-fairy nonsense. The results speak for themselves. It works. It works for people who've used it. I don't think there's no side effects from it. There's nothing bad to it. It's you, and it's your personal thoughts, and it's your personal development. So it's what else is there to say, really?
To stay connected with the leading edge breakthroughs in advanced thinking technologies, be sure to subscribe, and we'll make sure you get the latest videos as they happen and you don't miss out. So subscribe now. Also, feel free to share this. There are probably 2 or 3 people at least in your life who would either really benefit from what you've just watched or would find it really, really interesting. And we're trying to spread the word. So just click share below and let them know, and it'll only take you a second, but you could actually be having a real impact on people's lives. So subscribe below, and I'll see you on the next video.